Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
Drew Smyly has been dominant over his past two outings, allowing just a single earned run while punching out 17 hitters. Tonight, Drew faces a tough task as reigning AL MVP Josh Donaldson and the Blue Jays arrive opening a three-game set. Following an off day yesterday, the Rays are back in action tonight. We greet you from Tropicana Field for the opening game of the series between the Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays. Rays opened the regular season against this Toronto ball club, divided right down the middle of four-game series. Tonight, the Blue Jays back in town again. Hi again, everyone, with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, the Rays are going to send Drew Smyly to the mound, and you really can't think of an arm any better than Smyly's here in the early part of this season.
Well, how about his last two starts? I mean, the numbers are absolutely fantastic. Drew Smyly, last two starts, 15 innings. He's given up just one earned run on 7 hits. You see the numbers right there. He just does a tremendous job, and I'll give you a 4-point scouting report on Drew here in the early going. Angle, deception, command of 4 pitches, command of the strike zone, and right now he's making it look a whole lot easier than it really is. He'll look to keep it rolling against a very dangerous Toronto lineup here tonight.
And here is the pitching matchup. Drew Smyly against Aaron Sanchez. The Rays saw Sanchez in the third game of that season-opening series, 7 quality innings. Rays came away with the victory, however, in that outing. Steven Souza Jr. impressing with his bat and with his glove. Todd Callis will analyze all of that when we come back.
back to 500 for the third time this season. They were 2-2 and 10-10 as they open up a weekend series against the Toronto Blue Jays. What a start to the year it's been for Steven Souza Jr. 2 multi-home run games already. He's doing it not only with the bat, but with the glove for the Rays in 2016. Souza Jr. says he's been inspired by watching his outfield mate Kevin Kiermaier, but at the plate, tied for first with Corey Dickerson with those 5 home runs. Also has 11 runs batted in, which is best on the team. The other day on Wednesday had his 6-game hitting streak snapped, but he has still been productive in the offense and moves up to the number 5 spot in the lineup. But while that hitting streak was snapped, he contributed with this phenomenal catch as Crush Davis sends one deep to right center field, and Souza Jr. makes the incredible play in right field. We caught up with Souza Jr. before the game and asked him if he's better defensively this year.
I would say yes, because I took it a little more seriously. Not that I took it for granted in the past, but just really wanted to go get that Gold Glove, and watching KK and the way he goes about his defensive work, and realizing that it can really help the team out on my end, and knowing that I have the capability and been blessed with some gifts to help the team on the defensive end.
He's done a lot of good things, and you can see the comfort that he has through the clubhouse, on the field, during the game, all of that. And I mean, we knew we had a player, we acquired a player that had a lot of physical tools, a lot of talent, and at times it really showed up last year. It seems like it's showed up quite a bit this first month.
He's made 3 catches his first month that rival anything he did in 2015. He has been fun to watch for the Rays. We are ready for baseball. Less than 3.5 minutes until the first pitch. It will be Aaron Sanchez for the Blue Jays against Drew Smyly. Enjoy all the action next on Fox Sports Sun.
Rays baseball tonight from Tropicana Field. And the lefty Drew Smyly, 26 years old, heads to the mound to face the Toronto Blue Jay lineup. It has been for the past couple of years, and especially last year, coming into this year, a formidable lineup. It's presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Michael Saunders leads off, followed by Josh Donaldson. Then Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, the DH, George Tulowitzki at short, Justin Smoke at first, Russell Martin catches with Kevin Pillar hitting 8th in center. Ryan Goins, the second baseman, bats 9th.
Well, Drew Smyly, we talked about him in the open. He's in the top 10 in so many meaningful categories as far as starting pitching goes. You see his numbers overall, 1-2 record, but that ERA 2.51.
First pitch of this game taken inside by Michael Saunders, and so we're underway right on time here tonight at the Trop. Thanks for looking in. Saunders up in the leadoff spot now and has responded quite well for John Gibbons, the manager of this Toronto ball club.
Well, a couple of home runs, one of them coming off of Drew Smyly in his first start of the season against these Blue Jays. Gave up 3 home runs in that ball game, the only 3 that he's given up on the season.
2 balls and a strike. John Gibbons, the manager of the Blue Jays, directed them to 93 wins last year, and they were the champs in the American League East. Pop up, foul ball, third base side. Longoria will have room, 1 away.
Well, let's go ahead and set that Rays defense for you here tonight. See how it's going to line up. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we have Brandon Geyer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. And across that infield third to first, Evan Longoria, Brad Miller, Logan Forsythe, and Logan Morrison with Kurt Casale behind the plate.
Josh Donaldson, the third baseman, hitting second. Look at Kevin Cash in his second year as the skipper of the Rays. Donaldson takes the ball. Donaldson had been slowed a bit a week ago. He was hit by a pitch in the thigh. It's 1-1. Tonight's Buick GMC big matchup in here against Drew Smyly, against whom he is 6 of 11 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles, and skies this one to short center. Forsythe out in the shallow left center to make that catch in front of Geyer and Kiermaier out there.
Well, one pitch to watch tonight from Drew Smyly that should be very effective if he can locate it is that elevated fastball. He's got one of the best elevated 4-seam fastballs in the game, and with a lineup constructed like this Blue Jay lineup is, they will be more than eager to go after that pitch. And if he gets it where he wants it, you'll get a lot of pop-ups like that, a lot of swings and misses.
Here's Jose Bautista. And a strike on the outside corner. Bautista, 4 home runs, 5th in runs batted in the league. A 1-1 count, and 1 of 7 in his career against Drew Smyly. Now 2-1. Right back coming into this game. Over the last 3 starts, Smyly's given up no runs in 20 of 22 innings.
He's so good at going out and getting strike 1, getting the first hitter of an inning out. He just doesn't allow base runners. One of the best whips that you'll see in all of Major League Baseball. So you don't walk guys, you don't give up a lot of hits. You limit base runners, you keep the ball in the yard, you're not going to be scored upon very often.
Pop foul, coming straight back, and that's going to be out of play. Well, there you go. The last 3 starts. A run to New York, nothing to Boston. Did he go? He did not. That's ball 4 to Bautista. And he draws a walk. Take another look. So Bautista's aboard. Edwin Encarnacion, the designated hitter, steps in. A powerful lineup run out there by the Blue Jays, and they can be aggressive. Three home runs on the year for Encarnacion. The breaking ball, curveball misses. 1 ball, no strikes. High foul ball. This ball's going to be out of play. The count goes to 1-1. "39 home runs last year for Encarnacion. A popper foul. Casale should have a play. That takes care of Toronto. Walk and a man left. We go to the bottom of the first. No score. Take a look at the Rays lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Forsythe, then Brad Miller and Evan Longoria. Corey Dickerson, the DH, hits cleanup in front of Steven Souza Jr. Then Logan Morrison, followed by Brandon Geyer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Kurt Casale.
Well, they'll be going up against right-hander Aaron Sanchez here for the Toronto Blue Jays. They saw him in that opening series of the year. Went 7 strong innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 8 in that start, taking a no decision.
This pitch upstairs, fastball. Ground ball headed toward the middle. Out of the reach of Goins and through into center. And the Rays put the leadoff hitter on. Logan Forsythe with a base hit.
Logan Forsythe, the most impressive and consistent bat in this Rays lineup. And look at him use the middle of the field. He waits on those balls an awful long time. We talk about that all the time. His ability to let a pitch get deep and then explode on it, uses the middle of the field, and the Rays off and running.
You know, there was some question when the Rays decided to put him into that leadoff spot. Could he do it? Could he do it? Wow. His earned run average, or his on-base percentage coming in, was pushing .390, and he has a base hit his first time up in this game.
Well, he was worried about getting acclimated to that leadoff spot. It didn't take him very long, apparently.
A ball, no strikes. He's off and running. The pitch skied down the left side, foul. Donaldson on the run. So is Saunders, and they cannot catch up to it. And the count is 1-1.
Well, and you will see that tonight with guys that can run, guys that can handle the bat. You know, Aaron Sanchez has a very high ground ball percentage. This is a guy that will use his infielders, and so trying to stay out of double plays, you'll see the Rays get aggressive, try to put some runners in motion against him.
Tapper foul. And the other thing, I'm sure the Rays are aware of this. Russell Martin, who can be very tough behind the plate, has been playing with a bad neck, and it's difficult for him to move behind the plate. He's still catching. It's affected his hitting, and you just wonder how it may affect his receiving as well. That's a tough job to begin with.
It is, and then you've got a runner in motion. Think about the quick twitch to get out of the crouch, to be able to catch and transfer the baseball and then get it down to second base accurately, less than 2 seconds.
Down the left side again. This time it's going to carry into the stands, holding the count at 2-2. Kevin Cash, a former catcher himself, would be well aware of what it requires back there behind the plate. Again, foul ball deeper into the stands this time.
A little bit more velocity on that particular fastball at 97. Sanchez will obviously use the fastball. He's got a hard curveball and a changeup.
Two-two, and this one's lined into center. That's going to be a base hit. Pilar angled back to stay in front of that. Forsythe stops at second. The Rays put the first 2 men on base.
Well, and if you're thinking, Logan Forsythe should be at third base, that ball hung up there for a little bit. And so Kevin Pilar, a very good defensive center fielder, Logan had to be sure that this ball was not going to be caught. Watch this thing just kind of float. And then Kevin Pilar trying to catch Logan Forsythe, rounding too far, throws in behind him, but no go.
Here's Evan Longoria. Pitch is a strike. Sanchez had a tough outing the last time out against Oakland. Gave up 6 runs, 10 hits in 4 1/3. Suffered an 8-5 loss in that one. Swoops that one in there for a strike. 0-2. Comes back with another one that gets a swing and a miss.
And that's a filthy breaking ball. One for a strike, and then that one, Evan just not recognizing that pitch. A little bit out in front of it. See how he wraps and rolls that. Just a little too quick with the swing.
Brings up Corey Dickerson. Dickerson, 1 out of 3 that hit a home run against Sanchez. Takes a big cut and he misses. Strike 1. When Sanchez pitched against the Rays here in that opening series, he gave up just 5 hits on that 1 run in 7 innings, and that run was Dickerson's home run.
I think I gave Forsythe credit for that in the open. I think I did. It's 2 extra base hits. Forsythe hit a double.
Yep.
Dickerson with the home run.
Well, it's going to affect his slugging percentage.
Well, and the unicorn is dead.
Very elusive, that unicorn. Steven Souza Jr. on deck. Oh, strike call. Dickerson caught looking right there on a fastball.
Yeah, a borderline fastball. That's one of those pitches that you're not going to be able to do anything with, and you're just hoping and praying that it's called a ball. 97, starts on the outer third, and then starts its movement right to the corner. Right on the edge. A perfectly placed fastball by Aaron Sanchez.
So 2 on, now 2 outs. Steven Souza Jr. Batting .277 with 5 home runs on the year. Swings through the fastball.
Boy, just challenging. The first pitch fastball to Dickerson caught a lot of the plate. This one here to Souza Jr. a lot of the plate. He does have the velocity and late life, and knows that this Rays lineup got some free swingers in it.
Popped up, foul ball. Martin makes the catch, and the Rays put up a threat, but do not score, leaving 2. No score. Second, tonight's Rays broadcast can make you a winner. Just enter now for a chance to win at tonight's Rays Up to Win prize. A meet and greet with Kevin Cash, 2 lower box tickets, and 2 Kevin Cash autographed jerseys. Winner's name shown live on the air in the 8th inning. So visit RaysBaseball.com/Rays Up to Win to enter. Go online now to register. Rays Up. First pitch strike to Tulowitzki. And he checked on that one. It's 1-1. Tulowitzki hitting .184 for the year. And does not have a hit against a left-handed pitcher. He's 0 for 14 against lefties.
It was surprising on both counts. And really, you know, when he came over to the Blue Jays last year in the trade, did not hit as much as they thought that he would. So it's been a little bit of a disappointment here for Tulowitzki with the Toronto Blue Jays as far as swinging the stick goes. Average and power.
Smiley gave up a 2-out walk in the first. Left Bautista aboard now in the second. He's 2-2 with the shortstop Tulowitzki and strikes him out. Got him with a fastball. First strikeout of the night for Drew Smiley.
And nothing fancy about it at all. Stays away from Troy Tulowitzki, forces him to extend that swing, get a little bit long, and then he's able to pop that 91-mile-an-hour fastball right by him. I mean, there's nothing fancy at all. Outer third, heater, and Troy comes up empty.
Justin Smoke. He looks at a strike. Two teams that will swing and miss a lot, the Rays and the Blue Jays. When you look at the teams who can be aggressive and on the swing and miss into things, easily in the top four, these two clubs. Justin Smoke lifts one short center. Miller out from shortstop in front of Kiermaier, and he makes the catch. Two gone.
Well, we've seen the Rays with that aggressive approach. I mean, they come out, for the most part, swinging early and often, especially if they're facing a pitcher that, you know, can keep the ball in the strike zone. They know he's going to be around the plate. And the Blue Jays, you know, they're second in the American League in strikeouts. You think the Rays have swung and missed a lot and struck out a lot. Toronto Blue Jays even more so. So you've got some freewheelers. Be a fun series to watch. That's where it really comes down to execution, and you love having a guy like Smiley on the mound, the way he commands the zone.
1-0 the count to Russell Martin. There's a strike. Martin comes in with 7 consecutive strikeouts, and that coincides with the neck situation he's had. 2-1.
You know, at what point do you say, I know you can do this, but it's affecting performance at this point, and so we need to get that healthy, because, you know,
well, you do wonder,
it's tough
if it's going to get healthy. The more you try to force the issue with it.
And let's say that we start to change our swing a little bit because of that issue. Now you start to mechanically teach yourself. That's a tough call.
Yeah, you fall into bad habits. Well,
you do.
When you look at his numbers overall, and here's a guy who's got some pop and can be a tough out. It's 29 strikeouts in 63 plate appearances this year. That's an alarming rate.
Almost half. I mean, you're getting up to close to half are ending with you walking back to the dugout.
Oh, boy, Smiley thought he had the strike zone there. A fastball. Now the count is full.
Well, that's the pitch right here that you know if you get it to your spot, it's going to be a strikeout looking. And Drew Smiley thought that he had that ball maybe just off the plate. But boy, close enough that you think, I executed, this inning is over. And now you've got to regroup, make another pitch.
So another 3-2 pitch. And it's fouled back. So Martin battling. Check swing, just enough contact to foul it right back into the screen.
Yeah, and it's a good thing he did, because that changeup was going to be a called third strike more than likely. A good pitch, and that little check swing just gets a piece of it. Lives to see another one.
Well, he extends it into at least a 10th pitch at bat, and he's out on strikes on that 10th pitch. Couple of strikeouts in the inning. Bottom of the second coming, no score.
Here at Tropicana Field as we head into the bottom of the second inning, and let's take a look at that Toronto Blue Jay defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we have Michael Saunders, Kevin Pillar, and Jose Bautista. Across the infield third to first, Josh Donaldson, Troy Tulowitzki, Ryan Goins, and Justin Smoke, with Russell Martin behind the dish.
Well, here is Logan Morrison to lead it off. Takes the pitch upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. One fastball in the mid-90s from Sanchez. Two on the curveball. And away with the hard stuff off the plate. 2-2. Morrison out on strikes right there. Breaking ball. And that's strikeout number 3 for Sanchez.
That's a pitch that we've seen a lot of opposing pitchers go after Logan Morrison with, is the breaking ball down and in. And Aaron Sanchez can really spin that curveball. That'll be a dangerous pitch for Logan to fight through here tonight, because you know if you get to 2 strikes, that's what he's going to want to go with.
Well, here's Brandon Guyer getting a start in left field. He takes the pitch in there for a strike. Curveball. It's a dandy. 0-2. So now Guyer way down on the count. He's been on base in 12 of his last 22 plate appearances. It's a 1-2 count. Of those, it's a combination of a hit, walk, or being hit by a pitch. The game in Boston when he was hit 3 times. And a cut and a miss. Just got a little bit of it. Popped away, so he's still alive on that little foul ball. That came on a fastball about 96 or 97.
Oh, and Brandon Guyer getting the start here against the right-hander Aaron Sanchez. Jay Happ tomorrow night, so you figure you're going to see him out there 2 nights in a row.
It's a big chop, and that's a fair ball up the right field line. He's going to turn, and now he's caught between first and second. Smoke down to second base. Back, and he's going to be tagged out in the rundown. So Guyer had a base hit, thinking that he might try to stretch it into a double, and went a step too far and got caught.
Well, Jose Bautista well aware that the Rays have some aggressive base runners. He gets to this ball quickly, and Brandon Guyer realizes right there, but Justin Smoke had come back to the bag, and now he's caught in no man's land. And it's just a matter of, can the Toronto Blue Jays execute the rundown? That'll happen every now and then. You certainly don't like to, a leadoff single to lose that base runner, but that's the way that the Rays run the bases, and more times than not, it works out for them.
Kevin Kiermaier bounces it foul. So Bautista came up with that, then went to Smoke. Tulowitzki got in there, and so did Sanchez. And Donaldson put the tag on him. Skips to the backstop that pitch. So technically 9-3, 6-1-5 on that rundown and the putout. Stays up. 2-1. Fastball is fouled back. 2-2. And not only do you lose a base runner and pick up the second out, but unless Kiermaier can get on, if he ends the inning, you'll have the number 9 man to lead off the next inning instead of the top of the order again. Full count. But the inning's not over yet.
No, and Kevin Kiermaier's been swinging the bat a whole lot better here the last week and a half.
Ground ball. Goins, and the throw is in time. Second to first for the out. We go to the third, no score. Rays Baseball on Fox Sports Zone is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Trade Winds, the official beach resort of the Tampa Bay Rays. And by your local Toyota dealers. Kevin Pillar looks at a strike. Third inning underway at the Trop. Misses. It's 1-1. Pillar starting the night at 271. He was in that leadoff spot, but the last 10 games moved out of the leadoff spot. He's hitting 378. Two. Goins, the second baseman, on deck. Fly ball, short right center. Souza's there. One away.
Another pitch by Drew Smyly that was able to get in on Kevin Pillar and just eat him up. Yeah, we've seen that 91, 92 mile an hour fastball play much quicker with the swings that we've seen.
You know, Smyly said the other day he tried to simplify his approach to pitching. Well, I guess if you can do what he can and move the ball around all over the place, it appears pretty simple. But he said, I just try to get him to swing at bad pitches. And that's in a nutshell what he does.
I mean, and he's making it look a lot easier. We talked about this in the open, than it really is. And I mean, you start to break down Drew Smyly, and if I had, already brought it up once, but you think his angle, his deception, the fact that he can command 4 different pitches, and that he commands the strike zone. That's it in a nutshell. Easier said than done, but that's what he does. And that's why since he's come to the Rays and they have introduced him to that elevated fastball and shown him the benefits of that, he has taken it to another level.
There are a couple of other teams, maybe more than a couple, but a couple that I know of had interest in him. And you just wonder, had he gone somewhere else, what would have happened?
Not this.
I mean,
I really think this is the, they talk about the perfect place. You hear that you hear in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
He couldn't have ended up in a more, but truly, because that introduction of that elevated fastball, and then the fact in building off that he wants to use the changeup more, which he's done. Well, you've got weapons all over the place now, and the stuff, it fits, it works because of spin rate, Dwayne. Spin rate.
Yep.
But you're right, and the sources that we've come across and what they've said and how we know these other teams that wanted him, you're right. Would they have allowed him to flourish like this?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a great story, and we say it every time he pitches. He's so fun to watch pitch. Close right there. And I don't know how you take that. You just go, well, I'm not going to hit it, so I'll just take it. And the count is full. But he really is a delight. If you're interested in pitching at all, to watch him pitch, you don't want to miss one of his starts. And he strikes out Goins.
And how about the confidence to go back to that slider right there? Little slider / cutter. He can use that pitch a couple of different ways after the previous curveball was taken. And then you get him to chase that.
Our Toyota inside look. Well, you see the lowest starter ERA since the 1st of August in 2014 when they made the deal, and he tops the list.
I see 4 lefties in there.
How about that?
And Drew Smyly, number 1.
Michael Saunders, the left-handed hitting left fielder, with 2 gone and the bases empty. Saunders fouled out to Longoria to start the game. Now it's 2-0. Looking at some numbers today, we always talk about how important that first strike is to get ahead. Shot back into deep center off a 2-0 pitch. That ball's got some carry and is gone. Saunders takes him deep. How about that? Saunders again. It's his 3rd home run, his 2nd off Smyly. And it's 1-0 Toronto.
Boy, for a guy who just does not give up home runs to left-handed hitters. Been victimized 3 times this season already. Saunders for the 2nd time. 2-0 fastball just above the belt, right off the padding.
Oh, big swing and miss by Donaldson. He chased pitch up out of the zone. Center field. And hit the very top of the fence and got out of here. Hot shot, foul ball. 0-2. Did he go? Joe West says he did not. And it's 1-2. Saunders hit that home run in the first series off him to center. Now one to center tonight. Donaldson into short left, and out goes Miller for it. Then retires the side. Blue Jays get a run on the home run by Saunders. 1-0.
We head to the bottom half of the third inning. We are talking with a group here out in the outfield suites about Positive Coaching Alliance, PCA, and what it is, guys. They have a mission: better athletes, better people. So what they do is they teach life lessons and develop character through youth and high school sports. It's all about the positive message as well. The coaches give these kids tangible tools to excel at their individual sports, as opposed to just the nebulous, try harder kind of motivation. And we have triple impact competitor scholarship program winners. There are a total of 22 scholarship award winners, as Kurt Casale sends one to right field that Jose Bautista takes care of. 22 scholarship award winners totaling $33,000, and 17 of the 22 in the Tampa Bay area are right here. So congratulations to all you guys for being scholarship award winners. It's a three-part system. It's about personal mastery, leadership, and honoring the game. And all these people were able to do that very well throughout their competitive sports careers. Matt Silverman, a big part of PCA, and we are glad these people were able to join us tonight at Tropicana Field. We can wave and send it back to the boys, guys.
All right, thank you. Congratulations to each and every one. As we go here into the bottom of the third, top of the batting order, Logan Forsythe up here. One out, bases empty. 1-0 the count. There's a strike, 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Rays facing Aaron Sanchez. Brad Miller is on deck. Shot toward right center field. Extra bases coming this time for Forsythe on his way to second, and he is 2 for 2. 8th double of the year for Logan Forsythe.
And where did he hit it? Right center field. You talk about using the whole field. First at bat, we saw him go up the middle. We've seen a lot of extra base hits for Logan here in the last couple of weeks. Go into right field, right center. That fastball down and away, starts to come back towards the middle. He stays inside it, and with authority.
So the Rays with one out come right back. Put the potential tying run in scoring position for Brad Miller, who singled his first time.
And he had a really nice at-bat, an extended at-bat, a lot of foul balls until he was able to line one out into center field.
Sanchez started him with a breaking ball and missed with it. Two and 0. Well, the offensive side of things much better for Brad Miller recently. And is ahead in the count, 3-0. Evan Longoria is on deck. And there's ball 4. Stayed away. Miller draws the walk. The first given up tonight by Sanchez.
A little chance here at redemption for Evan Longoria. Fell victim in his first at-bat, strikeout, a couple of good breaking balls to finish that at-bat off.
And Evan is 1 for 12 against this young right-hander, so it's time to start evening the score. In fact, the base hit right here would most likely do that. 1-0. Toronto out in front on the home run by Michael Saunders. Pitch is fouled. Chopper. It's a foul ball. 0-2.
You can imagine a guy like Aaron Sanchez, when he gets you to 2 strikes, the batting averages against him paltry. Got around 130, 133.
Fly ball right field. Bautista makes the catch. Runners will have to hold. And Longoria is the second out. Two men on with 2 men out. It's going to be Corey Dickerson again. He was called out on strikes his first time up there.
This might be where the Rays want Sanchez. This is where they do all their scoring. 2 outs in an inning. Pretty amazing what this team has done. It's what, a little over 60% of their runs scored have been with 2 outs.
Well, it was a quick at bat in the first for Dickerson. Let's see what he does with Sanchez here. There's a strike. It was a 3-pitch at bat in the first, and a first pitch strike from Sanchez in the third.
Well, he's done a great job of locating against Corey Dickerson. Look at that fastball, where that is. Kneecaps on the corner.
Yep, the perfect pitch right there. Well, here's the home run Dickerson hit off Sanchez in the opening series of the season. And that one got out of here and then some.
And you see where that pitch was. middle in. And tonight so far, Sanchez has stayed far, far away from Corey Dickerson. A blast like that will cause you to change your approach.
Still 2 strikes. Dickerson had hit one earlier in that series off Marcus Stroman and then connected on the Sanchez fastball in the 3rd game of the series. Working from behind right now, 0-2. He got him with a fastball, struck him out. The Rays leave 2. They do not score. Here's the strikeout pitch. Something extra on that one. We're through 3. It's 1-0 Toronto. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Chris Coors Light, strikeout leaders in the American League. And the Rays have not only Smiley but Archer on that list, chasing David Price right now. A ball, no strikes, the count to Jose Bautista. Strike in there, it's 1-1. He takes a big cut at that high fastball.
Yeah, that's the pitch we kind of pinpointed early on. If he's able to locate it, you've got so many guys that want to drive the ball out of the ballpark and are antsy to do that because this Toronto Blue Jay offense has been struggling this season. Numbers way down from a year ago. And so you better believe that these guys want to gear up. They have really struggled. The Chicago White Sox just took it to them, held them to 6 runs total in the series. They'll be anxious to swing.
Fly ball into left. Geyer's there to make the catch. So Bautista is out number 1. Here's your chance to get a steal, Rays fans. Tonight's steal of the evening features a special Rays t-shirt featuring Logan Forsythe with the purchase of any ticket for April 30th or March 1st against the Blue Jays. Available tonight only. Visit RaysBaseball.com/steal or call 888-FAN-RAYS for more information. That's a strike to Edwin Encarnacion. 0-2. Three pitches, a big cut. Encarnacion out, missing the fastball.
Yeah, slow him down, then speed him up. You know, the changeup to get to 2 strikes. You slow a hitter down a little bit, and then all of a sudden 91. And that's where we talked earlier. It plays quicker than that. Tardy.
Now Troy Tulowitzki. Throws a breaking ball that's in there for a strike.
I mean, he just keeps going one to the other. Changeup, then the fastball, start a curveball here. It's not this easy.
And everything looks the same coming out of his hand from him. Same delivery, the cadence is all the same.
It goes right back to that repeatable delivery, repeatable arm slot.
That's foul. Out in front, the count is 1-2.
Yeah, when you're able, you know, to have a consistent release point, I mean, what an edge. Because you'll see some guys, you know, you start looking at some of these charts, you know, the fastball release point maybe is a little higher than the breaking ball or the changeup, and those little subtleties can be picked up by hitters with a keen eye. And so when you've got a consistent release point with 4 pitches,
and a cut and a miss. Tulowitzki missed the breaking ball. He's out on strikes. Steven Souza Jr. will lead off the home half. On Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory Ram. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Steven Souza Jr. to begin the home half of the 4th inning. Middle team of 3 coming in on this homestand. First game of the series with the Blue Jays. There's a cut and a miss by Souza. Missed the opening fastball. Souza looking for his first hit against Sanchez. He's 0 for 7 against him. And he drops a curveball following that fastball. It's a tough combination. 0-2. Ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the thing with Sanchez here tonight, too, is when he's needed to reach back and grab a little bit extra, he's been able to do that. Extra little life and mile an hour or 2 on the fastball. Yank down on that curveball just a little bit harder.
And the fastball, mid-90s in there for a strikeout.
Yeah, but both of these pitchers here tonight, Drew Smyly and Sanchez, doing a nice job of pitching back and forth. You know, getting ahead of Souza Jr., a breaking ball out of the zone. You slow him down just a hair, and then you come back, attack the middle of the plate with a mid-90s fastball and able to get it right by him. And both of these guys tonight, not trying to get tricky, just really attacking the zone, attacking the hitter.
Logan Morrison takes the slow breaking ball wide. They got Morrison on strikes on a curveball down and in the first time around. One and one. Rays had a couple base runners in the first to open the inning, did not score. 2 men on with 1 out in the third, did not score. Morrison's foul ball evens the count. Sanchez, not yet 24 years old. He'll be 24 the 1st of July. Still a 2-2 count. Sanchez 6'4". Breaking ball, and it's tapped to the right side. Morrison is out at first. Well, they had the shift on. Sanchez was on his way to cover just in case he was going to be called upon. But as it turned out, Tulowitzki was over there and made the play.
Right there he is, and he's got to come a long way because of that shift. Morrison, sensing a hit, is busting it down the line, and a half a step is what they get him by.
Here's Brandon Geyer, who singled and then was caught in a rundown between first and second. Strike one. Headed to short for Tulowitzki. And it's a quick inning. Strikeout through ground balls. We go now to the 5th. 1-0 Toronto. The Republic Bank Draft Room, exclusively for Rays season ticket holders, blends hospitality and comfort while offering local craft beers and themed signature food items. Tropicana Field's newest destination area, exclusively for Rays season ticket holders, is the Republic Bank Draft Room. Call 888-FAN-RAYS for information. Justin Smoak leads off. Popped out to the shortstop his first time. Looks at a fastball away, 1-0. Switch hitting first baseman. Smoak came into the game hitting .207. One run in this game came on a home run to center field, and the third off the bat of Michael Saunders at the very top of the fence out there and skipped over.
And that was at a 2-0 count, something that we've not seen a whole lot of here tonight by either pitcher, really.
2-2 now.
And both of them, boy, when they get to 2 strikes, they are deadly.
Ooh, very close. And that's a pitch that Smiley would have liked to have.
There's been a couple of those tonight. You could see it in the body language here. Breaking ball at the top of the zone, and Drew Smiley clearly frustrated.
3-2 is popped short center. Who's going to get this one? That's Forsythe. Kiermaier coming in full steam ahead, and Forsythe got out there to make the catch.
Yeah, and Kiermaier must have been coming from the wall, because you do not want your second baseman out that far making that catch. And typically that's not the case, because we know the Rays outfielders can run and cover ground. See, right over the head, an odd angle, but Logan adamant that he takes this.
First pitch, Martin takes it low.
And Drew Smiley just kind of flipped his arms out there, asking home plate umpire Mark Ribberger, where was that? What exactly is your zone?
There's the strike. Ribberger, still relatively a young umpire. He's 35 years old. And when he first came up, as a lot of umpires do, back 2010 or so.
Watch this reaction. He said, where do you want it? Up's no good, down's no good.
A swing and a miss. Rippinger had some issues with some managers. Terry Francona, Paul Molitor, Joe Madden when he was here. And things have sort of settled down, you know, the last couple of years, but there were discussions about the nature of the strike zone early on when he would come in and fill in.
Those discussions are being reopened here by Mr. Smiley.
Yeah, a couple of them. Anyway, just a couple of quick phone calls. Just checking, that's all. See how you're doing. Oh, and there's another one. Well, he's really upset here. You can see Smiley walking around. Look at that.
Yeah, and this ball, you know, the Fox Tracks has it a little bit in off the plate, similar to a one earlier in the game, a pitch earlier in the game that Drew did not get the call on, thinking that he's going to get a strikeout. Look, in fact, I think it was against Russell Martin. Oh.
Now he strikes him out. 3-2, and he turns. Rippinger.
Yeah, he better
started to step out in front of the plate. Smiley walked off the mound, and Cash doesn't like this, and I don't blame Cash.
I don't blame Cash, but you know what? The home plate umpires don't like those motions that you see either. And so Kevin Cash is out here taking the bullet for Drew Smiley. Drew Smiley's frustration obviously ticking off Mark Ribberger, and Kevin Cash, sensing that, wants to keep his starter in the game, so he runs out and takes it for him.
Well, the fans back of the Rays dugout like what Cash just did there. Joe West, Joe's another guy that, you know, you're not going to have a long conversation with Joe either. And there'd been some conversations earlier out of the dugout with Kevin Cash.
But I will tell you this: when Drew Smyly, see how that's when he looked back at Mark Rippinger. And you start to do that. If there's too many, body movements out there on the mound that a home plate umpire doesn't like, you put yourself at risk.
There's a ground ball on the 1-strike pitch. That takes care of that. That's Rippinger and Smyly a little bit at odds, and Cash came out to intercede, and so you see Smyly said, hey, I had to get him to swing to strike him out, and Cash being ejected. No, it's a 1-0 game. Rays dugout now. Kevin Cash ejected in the top half of the 5th in this 1-0 ball game. Kevin Kiermaier leads it off, and he takes the pitch for a strike. One and one. Chop right side. Pitcher Sanchez found the bag. Well, we'll take another look at Drew Smyly upset with Mark Rippinger, and Rippinger then stepped out in front of the plate, and that's when Cash came out.
And you know what? That was like the third thing that Rippinger saw from Drew Smyly, and you could see him mouthing to him, knock it off. And then Kevin Cash, you got to remember, a Joe West led crew, and you're afraid of maybe one more, retort from Drew Smyly. Maybe he gets tossed. So Kevin Cash not going to allow that to happen. That's him protecting his starting pitcher and making sure that he stays in the game. Smart move.
And Kurt Casale takes the pitch for a strike. And as we discussed earlier, not only do you have Joe West, who is the crew chief, and Joe's kind of a no-nonsense. We're not going to discuss the nature of these calls very long with Joe West. And Rippinger, back before he was ever a full-time crew member, ran into some issues with managers and was ejecting people. So, on two fronts there, Kevin Cash had plenty of reason to go out and protect his pitcher to make sure he stayed in the game.
Well, there were a couple of calls that Drew and I think Kurt Casale also were not very happy with, and let it be known, quite frankly. And then after the strikeout, like you said, it was like, look, I have to do all the work myself, get him to swing and miss. And you could feel it building, the tension building between the two.
Here's Logan Forsythe all the way to the backstop off the mitt of Martin. 1-0. Well, it was, I think, 2010, 11 when Rippinger was filling in, and he'd ejected Terry Francona from a game. He'd ejected, I think, Ron Renicky had a run-in with the Twins. And so there was some discussion about all of that. So he apparently is not a guy who you want to push too much. And Cash, certainly aware of that, got in there to save his pitcher. Close there, and it's 3-0. Well, Forsythe 2 for 2 tonight, and maybe that made Sanchez a little uncomfortable. And now a couple of these pitches out of the zone. 3-0. Upstairs, so he misses on 4 pitches right there. Forsythe heads to first with the walk. Let's check in with Emily. How are you?
Hi, Dwayne. I'm just letting Rays fans know that if they don't have plans this weekend, they need to make it out to the Trop, because look at these awesome giveaways. Chris Archer is on the mound tomorrow, and they're giving away this K-Counter Chris Archer bobblehead. They even have the Chris Archer fro in the back of the hat. And then on Sunday, for you kids 14 and under, they're giving away this pitch grit baseball. It shows you how to throw these 4 pitches rather. I'm pretty sure that I would follow in BA's footsteps and be more of a fastball changeup type of pitcher. But make sure you guys come out to the ballpark this weekend. 2 awesome giveaways. Dwayne?
All right. Yeah, that well, both those are great items. That baseball is a pretty intriguing item.
I love that baseball. I think that's a great idea. You know, the Rays plenty of giveaways and very good and unique different types of giveaways, but that baseball, because I've actually had one of those and threw the fingers on where they're supposed to go, and it's pretty legit. Teaches you where those fingers are supposed to be. Interestingly enough, on that baseball, there's no finger placement for the changeup, because as you know, the changeup, there's about 40 different versions to throw it. You start putting those kind of fingerprints on there, then it just gets messy.
Well, it becomes a polka dotted baseball.
That's exactly right. Of no use.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That is.
We'll have the whole crew throwing pitches at each other.
I wish I would have had that when I was, you know, trying to make my way. I would have thrown more than just the fastball and the changeup. Didn't know where to put my fingers. What do I do with my hands, Dwayne? Where do I put my hands?
Runner takes off, pitches a ball, and a steal. So Forsythe picks up his 3rd stolen base of the year. He's now in scoring position for Brad Miller.
Well, you alluded to it earlier. Going to test Russell Martin, test this Blue Jay defense. A good jump by Forsythe after the 2-out walk, and now the Rays with the 2-out chance.
Yeah, Martin with that bad neck, not at the top of his game. So you'd figure the Rays will test him any chance they get. Rays have had men in scoring position now in 3 of the 5 innings. Still looking for that first run. And that takes the count full. Fastball. See that fastball located down and away. Ground ball, third base. Donaldson's throw is right there, and the Rays leave a man at second. We're through 5. It's 1-0 Toronto. Tomorrow, MLB continues on FS1 as Buster Posey and the Giants take on the defending NL pennant winning Mets. It all starts at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. The number 9 hitter and second baseman Ryan Goins leads it off. Pitch is upstairs. Goins, then Saunders and Donaldson. A 1-1 count. And a bunt attempt, 1-2 the count. And one other thing, and then we'll get off this Cash being ejected, but if he was aware that Mark Rippinger had ejected King Felix from a game a couple of years ago, maybe a little less than that, a little over a year and a half ago. So if he's going to throw him out of the game, then you have some concern about keeping your pitcher in the game. And that's what Kevin Cash did. There is strike 3 call. Second time Goins out on strikes. Well, that brings us to the top of the order. Michael Saunders. Saunders with 2 home runs off Drew Smyly. This is the one earlier this year, and he hit one tonight just off the top of the fence.
Both to center field and both over by just a hair, but over.
Fouls this one the other way, and out of play for a strike.
Nice catch right there. Bring the glove, you never know. Flashing the leather in the stands for the kids.
Always be prepared. Two strikes. Now Saunders has gone into the leadoff spot for a little over a week. Got a home run tonight. His on-base percentage in that span has been over 400, and his batting average over 350. 1-2 the count right now. Two. Josh Donaldson is on deck. Seven strikeouts for Smyly. The call third strike on Goins, the first strikeout that was a call third. And a swing and a miss. He gets Saunders swinging for strikeout number 8.
Well, showing Saunders some pitches away, but you saw the way he finishes them up in the zone, trying to crowd him. That ball right over the label of the bat on the swing. Guy's proven a couple of times when he gets extension, hit the ball a long way. So crowd him with 2 and pick up a strikeout.
Josh Donaldson takes the fastball out of the zone. 1-0. The ejection for Cash, his first of the year, the 4th of his career. Cut and miss. Missed the fastball that time. 1-1. Tom Foley with the lineup card down there. Jim Hickey on the phone calling the bullpen. Pitch counts 94. Smiley right now. And Donaldson way out front there.
Boy, just keep the mix going. The fastball, the changeup, slow curve, hit all the different areas of the strike zone and then some.
Oh, a long one. This one's going to get out of here. Off the catwalk up there. A 2-2 fastball, and Donaldson jumped all over it.
You know, the one thing that Drew Smyly has done to this Blue Jay lineup here tonight, a very good job of slowing them down and then finishing him with the fastball. So he goes with the curveball to Donaldson, who obviously picked up on that pattern, comes back with the fastball, and he was all over that, looking dead red, looking up in the zone. He had seen that sequence before, and boy, did he crush that baseball.
So Bautista takes a big cut at a changeup and fouls it in the aftermath of the home run by Donaldson. One and one. Yeah, that shot by Donaldson had some serious trajectory on it. High fly ball, center field. Room out there for Kiermaier, who makes the catch. The home run by Donaldson hit the C ring. A solo shot that gives the Blue Jays another run. And we move toward the bottom of the sixth inning. It's 2-0 Toronto. Have hit solo homers tonight for Toronto. Drew Smyly and the Rays down 2-0, and Evan Longoria leads off the bottom of the sixth. Fastball is down. Evan, nothing of two on the night. Corey Dickerson next, and then Steven Souza Jr. A little part of the Rays order. 1-1. Fastball down, and he missed it. Steve Geltz remains busy in the bullpen for the Rays. Down to short, Tulowitzki. His throw is right there. One gone in the 6th inning for the Rays. Let's check in with Todd Callis.
Dwayne, that last putout goes to Justin Smoak. He's been playing a lot more first base for the Toronto Blue Jays since the suspension of Chris Colabello. And then last night, technically early this morning, we find out that the Miami Marlins have lost their 2015 NL batting title crown winner, D. Gordon, for PEDs. 80-game suspensions for both. For Colabello, he was 2 for 29 on the season. He said it was an emotionally and mentally draining process, and they both dropped their appeals. Gordon last night, Colabello earlier in the month. Justin Verlander says the misconception people have is that everybody in the Players Association wants a clean game, wants stricter rules. So we'll see how this plays out in the new collective bargaining agreement. But both Colabello and D. Gordon just last night out for 80 games, guys.
Don't take anything with an ingredient list that has something that ends in BOL.
That would be good advice.
You know what that tells you, though, when you continue to see things like this happen, is that are the penalties strong enough? Is there enough of a deterrent? I know that they've upped the penalties for first time, second time, all of that, but is it enough? Because apparently.
Well, if you get stuck for 80 games now and you come back, you're still done for the postseason. Right?
True, but so, but if you sign an extension and get a lot of guaranteed money, that's all there for you.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you hear a lot of people now saying that maybe going forward in the next collective bargaining agreement, you set up an avenue where the teams can void that contract. Or at least an avenue to try and void that contract. Not that they have to, but that you allow them that avenue to do that. You do something like that and you'll get people's attention.
Yes, you would.
But that's what you have to wonder.
But to get to that point, to get to that agreement.
Well, listen, a lot of the uppage of the games came from the players. The players themselves said, we want this stuff out of here.
Yep.
There's a big contingent of players that said, we want this game clean, and so let's make the punishments, let's up the ante a little bit. The question is it enough? And that's being debated now with these two casualties of the PE, the drug testing here in Major League Baseball.
Susie Jr. on the ground, the third off the glove of Donaldson. Picked up by Tulowitzki, but no chance, and Sousa's aboard after Longoria went out short to first and Dickerson third to first. Sousa Jr. is aboard.
Boy, they had a chance to make this play too. Josh Donaldson, the range there at third, a good eye on the ball, and it's off the heel of the glove and gets behind him. Rays get a reprieve here with 2 outs.
So a base hit, the Rays have 5. The only 2 hits the Blue Jays have are the 2 solo home runs. And here is Logan Morrison. Morrison takes it wide. A strikeout and a ground out for Morrison tonight. Couple of 2 base hits among his hits. One and one. Erasmo Ramirez joining Geltz in the bullpen for the Rays. Soft away, 2-1. The breaking ball stayed out there to the left-handed hitter. There's Brandon Geyer on deck. Rays have had base runners in every inning except the 4th. No runs yet. And a strike, mid-90s fastball. 2-2. ball lifted the other way, and Saunders, they're waiting. The Rays are retired in the 6th. On to the 7th, 2-0 Toronto.
I'll tell you what, he did it again, put his team in a position to win a ball game. 6 strong innings, a couple of mistake pitches, but overall, Drew just continued to work the ball around the strike zone. The fastball, very good. This one here in a 2-0 count off the top of the wall. Frustrating to Michael Saunders. Then he would go right back to work. Keep the Rays there, just down a run. And then Josh Donaldson, you just wonder, how many times did we see Drew Smyly go soft on a hitter and then speed him up with the fastball and be effective with it? Donaldson was sitting dead red fastball right there. And that, you know, we've seen Drew with that pitch up in that part of the strike zone, get the pop-ups, get the swing and a miss. But I think Donaldson was laying for the fastball up in the zone right there, and he didn't miss it.
It's a 2-0 game, moving into the 7th with Steve Geltz now on the pitch. He faces Edwin Encarnacion and drops that first pitch, the slider, in for a called strike. 99 pitches for Smyly. 0-2. Well, 8 strikeouts tonight, and that gives Smyly 41 in the month of April. Did he go? He did not, says Joe West. 41 strikeouts in April. That ties the team record for April. David Price did that in 2014. Two now. So Smyly matches that, 41 strikeouts in April. It's fouled right back. Came in with a fastball, and Encarnacion fouled it on deck. That's Troy Tulowitzki. Count is full. Geltz working for the first time on this homestand, and he loses Encarnacion after getting ahead. He walks him. The leadoff man is on. The Toyota keys to the success. The bullpen has been good for the Rays. There you see the numbers for the year. Opposition hitting only .206. No runs in the last 4 games, better than 10 innings of work.
Well, Kevin Cash has a number of options to go to out there, and seemingly everybody coming through.
Tulowitzki takes one upstairs.
It's amazing to me, and you and I were talking about it before the game, how the Rays seemingly, they remake that bullpen to some extent every single year, and it never disappoints. I mean, they come out and do a great job of complementing the Rays starting rotation, and it gives them just a pitching staff that night in and night out gives you a chance to win games.
Yeah, it's remarkable, actually. I don't know that over an extended run of season after season that I've ever seen a team do what the Rays have done to the bullpen here.
I mean, think of the guys that they've turned their careers around or given the career rebirth.
Tulowitzki pops it up after the visit from Hickey. Geltz gets the first out on the pop to Forsythe.
You think about Kyle Farnsworth. You think about Rodney. You think about what they've done with Xavier Cedeno. They brought him over. Now everything he throws has movement. He's become filthy. Brad Boxberger leading the American League in saves last year. It's one after the other.
It's an amazing run. And you'd have to think that Jim Hickey's got something to do with that.
He's the one constant.
I mean, Justin Smoke pops it up. Longoria over there out into shallow left. Takes care of that, so Smoke pops out to the third baseman. 2 gone after that leadoff walk. And now Russell Martin's on his way to the plate. A couple of strikeouts from Martin tonight. Well, just the fact that Martin has struck out 9 times in a row tells you that neck is not very good right now. And yet he's playing and catching.
Yeah, I mean, at what point do you say, you know what, I appreciate the gamesmanship, appreciate the effort, putting yourself out there. He's been able to do it adequately, but it certainly has affected performance. Seen the Rays take off a couple of times on him.
There's a line drive. He picks up a single, one hop the other way.
I did not realize 9 strikeouts in a row. Yeah, very telling, because he's not that type of hitter. Much better job there going the other way, staying inside of baseball. There's a 4-seam fastball.
So a walk and a single, men at first and second with 2 outs. And now Kevin Pillar, the center fielder. He's hitting 8th so far tonight. 0 for 2, all of that against Smiley. A ball, no strikes. Rays get some further action going in the bullpen. Ball runs in on him and out of the strike zone. That's Dana Evelyn, the veteran lefty. Picks up the corner for a strike. 2-0 slider right there. Time granted in the middle of the delivery. Two-run ball game here. White Sox and the Orioles are tied 3-3. Middle of the 7th in Baltimore. Fly ball back into straightaway center. Kiermaier is going to have room and makes the catch. 2 men left, 7th inning stretch time, 2-0 Toronto. Rays coming into bat in the bottom of the 7th inning. They are down a pair of solo home runs. Saunders in the 3rd, Donaldson in the 6th. That's all the scoring in this game. The Rays are facing Aaron Sanchez, the young hard-throwing right-hander. And Brandon Guyer is going to lead it off. Here may be the key. It's a tall order to try to get Sanchez out of the game the way he's been pitching. But that pitch right there is his 94th of the night. And the Blue Jays, in a couple of instances, have been having bullpen problems.
Oh, across the board. I mean, this bullpen sits right now. The ERA 4.03. That's 12th in the American League, but they're 0-7. And only the Minnesota Twins have more blown saves than they do. So definitely they are ripe for the picking.
Drew Storen is up now.
Drew Storen's had a number of rough outings. Brett Cecil, who was so good a year ago, has struggled a little bit here in the early going.
Kevin Kiermaier takes a strike. Well, Sanchez has been throwing strikes. He's walked a couple, but that's about it. He's given up 5 hits, left a few men on base. But here he is throwing nothing but strikes in this inning, ahead of Kiermaier. And a base hit up the middle off the 0-2 pitch. Fastball returned right over Sanchez and threw into center. Kiermaier's aboard.
But you remember last year when Kiermaier hurt his hand, his wrist, said it caused him to have to cut down on his swing a little bit. Well, that's what he did here in the 0-2 count. Just looking to put that ball in play. He uses the middle of the field, and he gets some speed aboard. Did not overswing there, just looking to make something happen. And here we go.
Kurt Casale has popped out and grounded out. Bullpen phone busy. Casale takes strike 1. Down, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. One on, 1 out in the 7th. 7 innings, the longest stint of the year for Sanchez. He pitched 7 against the Rays here earlier this month, and in his 3rd start against Boston, he pitched 7 innings. Win against Boston at a no decision against the Rays. 4 1/3 his last time out in the loss to Oakland. 100 pitches exactly for Sanchez. And he gets ahead of Casale 1-2. Logan Forsythe is on deck. Casale is out on strikes.
Saved the best for last. A couple of fastballs that were in the middle of the plate, and then all of a sudden he takes one down right to the corner. Stay behind it. Little late movement.
Two gone with Kiermaier aboard for Logan Forsythe. Logan with his 2 hits tonight is 4 for 10 in his career against Sanchez. Ground ball, and Tulowitzki with that off-balance throw right on the money takes care of the Rays and Forsythe. We go to the 8th, 2-0 Toronto. By Ram Trucks, Guts Glory Ram. By St. Luke's Cataract and Laser Institute, world-class care right in Tampa Bay. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. For Tropicana Field tonight, Rays beginning their series against Toronto. They run into Aaron Sanchez, the young right-hander who's been very good tonight. Dana Evelyn will be pitcher number 3 for the Rays. He's making his 8th appearance.
Well, the Rays need to put up a couple of zeros here coming out of the bullpen and hope that that offense can get going, maybe against that Toronto bullpen.
Goins right back to Evelyn, who throws him out. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Tell you what, the Rays, I mean, first month of the season here, and you talk about a team that plays some tight games, very little margin for error, you know, good or bad. Lost the game the other day, they gave up 3 hits in.
Yep. Well, they've given up 3 tonight, down 2-0. Marcus Saunders takes a strike. The one thing that I think we see more of now, Ryan Webb up in the bullpen, we see a lot of overpowering arms in the game now.
More than I can ever remember. I mean, it just seemingly you've got these bullpens, even the starting rotations.
Yep.
But you get into the bullpens and it's just it's a flame fest. I mean, one after the other, just coming in blowing heat. Great breaking stuff. And it's across the board.
Well, we talked about these 2 teams here are big swing and miss teams. That also seems to be a trend emerging in the game. High fly ball back to deep right. Souza to the wall. He's going to leap, and that ball is out of here. That ball is out of here. Wound up back onto the playing field, but it cleared. And Saunders has hit his 2nd home run of the night. Boy, he's on fire in that leadoff spot for the Blue Jays, and he makes it 3-0.
Saunders now with 4 home runs on the season. 3 have come against the Rays, all 3 against left-handed pitching. This ball clearly, you're going to see it get out right here, those fans. Off the high hands there. Well, last time we saw one out there similar, did not go the Rays' way.
And that's a home run for Saunders.
He's mastered the art of the home run into the first row or off the top of the fence.
You don't have to hit him a mile, just over the fence. His first one tonight hit the top of the center field wall and bounced over. 1-1 the count to Josh Donaldson, who hit one off the C ring in the 6th inning. One ball, 2 strikes. We're talking about that. Flamethrowers, hard throwers, high velocity, and the big swing and home runs. The next obvious question is, if you're going to be involved in some low hit and conceivably low scoring games, it would seem there would be a value on, an extra value perhaps, on the ability to, in the old school parlance, to manufacture runs. Take advantage of every little opportunity and use some of the skill in the game. To every once in a while do that and hold on and win a game 3-2, 4-3 maybe.
You know, that's what you see out of the Kansas City Royals. You know, this is a team that you know, they don't walk a ton, but they don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They put pressure on the defense.
That's the amazing thing about them. They're pressure from the get-go with their lineup and don't strike out a lot.
No, I mean, they put the ball in play. They move guys. They've got a lot of athletes, a lot of guys that can run, a lot of different ways to manufacture runs. And they've taken that end of it offensively. And then on the pitching end, we, of course, see the big three at the back end. They won it all last year.
Pitching change coming now for the Rays. The 8th, and here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Doug Wechter will be part of that, and he'll break down the Rays bullpen. Chris Archer on the mound for the Rays, and we will hear from the Rays right-hander all on Rays Live, the pregame. Our coverage begins at 5:30. Ryan Webb is the new Rays pitcher. Pitcher number 4, he faces Jose Bautista. With a man at first and 1 out, and the first pitch is a strike. Webb pitched an inning last night, or night before, Wednesday. That was in the Baltimore series in relief of Matt Moore.
He gives the Rays a sinker baller coming out of that bullpen, and you could use a ground ball right here to try to get out of this inning.
Keeps an eye on Donaldson. Upstairs. It's 1-1. And 2-1. All 3 runs for Toronto coming on home runs. Saunders in the 3rd, Donaldson in the 6th, and Saunders again in the 8th. Ground ball, but it's going to go through the hole. Well, they got the ground ball, but it was perfectly placed between Miller and Longoria, and Bautista has a base hit.
He perfectly placed his right because that ball was not hit hard. It was just hit in the right spot. Rolls over it, and you could not have split the Rays defenders more perfectly.
2 men on with 1 out.
Well, the good thing is, being heavy on the sinker, get another one right here.
Edwin Encarnacion. The ball, no strikes. Encarnacion, like Bautista before him, tends to hit the ball in the air a lot, but Webb did get the ground ball from Bautista just in the wrong spot so far as the Rays were concerned. There's a ground ball. Play's going to be at first. The runners will go to second and third. So Webb gets a couple ground balls, but no double play. They settled for the 1 out, the second out of the inning on Encarnacion at first.
Yeah, that's frustrating. The first one, a seeing eye that gets into left field. The next one wasn't hit nearly hard enough to have a chance to turn a double play. Evan Longoria having to charge this ball, make the play.
Troy Tulowitzki. So he becomes a very big hitter in a 3-run game in the 8th. Webb gets ahead of him, 1 strike. Aaron Sanchez working the front 7. 1-1. Two and 1. Nolan Reimold hit a home run in the bottom of the 7th for Baltimore, and they've taken a 6-3 lead over the White Sox. That game in the top of the 8th. Top of the 7th at Boston. Yankees lead the Red Sox 2-0. Misses the corner. Just missed. 3-1. It's Justin Smoke on deck. Two men on, 2 men out. There's a strike. Slider, 3-1. The count is full on Tulowitzki. And he loses him. That's going to load the bases. Justin Smoke will bat with the bases loaded. Smiley gave up 1 walk through the front 6. The bullpen through the next inning and 2/3, 3 walks and 3 hits. Foul ball through the coaching box. Down toward the bullpen as it rebounds. 0-1 the count on Smoke. Close. It's 1-1. Line drive, base hit into right. Donaldson scores. Bautista heads to the plate, throw to third, out there, and the run's going to count. Bautista across the plate before Tulowitzki was put out at third, but Smoke does the damage with a base hit driving in 2 runs. So it's a base hit and a couple of runs batted in. And the Blue Jays wanted to take a moment to look at the video, but they're going to forget about that. It's 5-0 Toronto. Geico, great moment, a flashback. This is what Josh Donaldson brought to the Toronto club last year.
All-out effort all the time. Certainly something that they fed off of as the season moved on. And they got hot at the right time, made a couple of key trade deadline acquisitions, and took off.
Drew Storen now on the mound as he took a quick look at Donaldson down there. Storen comes on in relief of Aaron Sanchez. And a long one off the bat of Brad Miller, and that baby's gone. Miller lays into the fastball. It's his 2nd home run of the year.
Well, the Blue Jay bullpen, we've already talked about their struggles, and it didn't take the Rays long to capitalize. Sanchez out of the game, got 6 outs to go, down by 5, 2 pitches in, now down by 4. This ball was blistered.
Now Storen has been an issue for the Toronto bullpen. The Rays try to continue that trend. Miller jumps on him for a home run. 1-0 the count to Evan Longoria. Wrinkle in that off-speed pitch for a strike. Tenth appearance for Storen. The ERA is over 9. And now Longoria is ahead. 3-1. Lays off the high slider. John Marinez throwing in the bullpen for the Rays. And Evan finds the count full now, missing the fastball. Foul back. Another fastball. We'll see another 3-2 pitch. Osuna, the right-hander. Cecil, the lefty. And Longoria out on strikes. That's the first out of the 8th.
Well, he was able to entice Evan to expand the strike zone. This right here, ball 4, down and off the plate. You saw the swing right there. That ball was off the end of the swing, and Evan trying to get some plate coverage, and that ball still off the plate.
Gibbons comes out to make a change with Dickerson due up. Presented by Checkers. Todd and Doug will anchor the coverage. Kevin Cash will hold his post-game press conference, and Emily Austin will have interviews from the clubhouse. Michael Saunders has hit a couple out tonight. Brett Cecil, the lefty, is on after Storen faced Miller and Longoria. Miller hit the home run, and now Dickerson will face Brett Cecil.
And a big reason why the Blue Jay bullpen has struggled is because of Drew Storen and Brett Cecil, the two main guys that are in charge of getting these close games to Roberto Osuna. And they have struggled mightily. An ERA of over 9 coming in for Storen, gives up the home run, second pitch to Brad Miller. Brett Cecil, who had that ungodly number of games streak of not giving up a run that the Rays actually broke. He's appeared in 11 games. He's 0-4.
Now a strike, and it's 0-2 on Dickerson. Ball, 2 strikes. There's 2 home runs for Saunders tonight. The home run leaders individually this year at the Trop would be that man, Steven Souza Jr., who has hit 3, and Michael Saunders, who has hit 3. Souza on deck. High chop towards second. And the throw is in time. So Dickerson is retired, 2 away in the 8th. That'll be Steven Souza Jr. Souza had the base hit in the 6th inning. One of 7 hits. Rays have actually out-hit Toronto 7-6, but they trail 5-1. 1-0. Three solo home runs by Toronto. Saunders with 2, Donaldson 1, and Justin Smoke drove in 2 more with a base hit. The count is 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes. He's left 2 men on in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, single runners in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Have the run on the Miller home run in the 8th. Nobody on right now with 2 outs, and Souza Jr. down in the count. Takes it wide. 2-2. And that's strike 3 call. Souza took the pitch away on the corner, says Rippinger. 5-1. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. Michael Saunders doing all the smiling tonight with a couple of home runs. One in the 3rd and a 2-0 pitch hit it out to center right over the wall, and then he got that one over the right center field stripe out there in the 8th inning. His 3rd and 4th home runs of the year, and 3 of them have come here this year at the Trop.
Yeah, he and his cohorts are the only people smiling over that. I'll tell you, he's been a thorn.
Juan Marinez is the new pitcher for the Rays. And the first pitch is up and in a bit to Russell Martin. Second appearance for the Rays since being summoned from Durham. Mid-90s with that fastball. He gives you that high velocity and then a great slider.
Power arm. We talked about it earlier in the game. Seemingly enough to go around for everybody and then some.
Headed up the middle, and Forsythe is there. Martin is retired to open the ninth. Well, 2 runs charged to Drew Smyly tonight in 6 innings. Geltz 1 scoreless inning. Evelyn charged with 2 1/3 of an inning. And Webb charged with a run in 2/3 of an inning. Now it's Marinez. It's a strike.
Well, Drew Smyly, once again, a quality start. 6 innings, 2 runs. I mean, that's going to give you a chance to win every single time. The problem was Aaron Sanchez once again. He stymied the Rays in his first start of the season, and he was really good here again tonight.
Pop back of first. Morrison's tracking it, but that will be out of play. These teams split the first series of the year, 2-2, a 4-game series. And the Blue Jays right back to town. They'll have only 1 trip left in here the rest of the year, and the Rays have yet to go to Toronto.
Yeah, the schedule really, when you look at the Rays end of things, and every team has, you know, their issues with the schedule.
Broken bat, tough play, Longoria, and he made it. Wow. Longoria with a barehanded pickup, and Pilar can get down the line. Everything had to be perfect for Evan, and it was.
He's got such a great feel on those balls that he's charging. Do I have time to use the glove, or do I have to go with the bare hand? And here, because of what you just said about Pilar getting down the line, he knows I've got to barehand it and get rid of it in one motion. And there it is. Throws right on the money. A half a step before Pilar gets there.
That's one of those close plays at first, and John Gibbons said, wait a minute, we might want to talk about that. And Joe West down at first base looked at him and smiled and crossed his arms, waited, and Gibbons finally just emerged from the dugout and tipped his cap. Here's a high fly ball left field. Goins has hit it out. He just got it into the front row. Goins hitting his first home run. That came on a fastball, mid-90s fastball.
On the corner. Now, it did have some elevation, but Ryan Goins has that kind of juice. I'll tell you, you get a ball out here, you've got to hit it, number one. There's no cheapies here at Tropicana Field. And then to go opposite field. Well, he got some good carry on that pitch.
And just like that, it's 6-1. The 4th home run of the night hit by Toronto. Here's a strike now to Saunders, who has 2 of those home runs. Well, he didn't hit that one all that deep, but just deep enough. Saunders has had a couple of those tonight. One to count. Ground ball Scoop by Morrison, unassisted. He steps on the bag. A run on the Goins home run. We go to the bottom of the ninth, 6-1 Toronto. Rays move into the bottom of the ninth, and they find themselves down 6-1. Changes for the Blue Jays. The right-hander Osuna enters the game on the hill. Ezequiel Carrera's in the game and left. And the first man Osuna faces is Logan Morrison, who looks at a 97-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike.
Well, 6 out of 6 in saves, 2.89 earned run average, 10 strikeouts, 9 1/3. Easy 97 too.
Ground ball right side, and from short right field, Goins throws out Morrison. Now Brandon Guyer. Guyer had a base hit in the second inning. He is 1 for 3 tonight. There's a strike. How about the 4 home runs hit tonight by the Blue Jays? 2 landed in the first row. 1 scraped the top of the wall, and the other one never cleared any fence at all when it hit the C ring.
That would have made up for the other 3, because that was headed for like the 48th row.
Yes, it was.
That ball was hit well. I think the Blue Jays came in a little upset. They had played 2 more games than the Rays coming into play tonight, and the Rays had out-homered them, if you can believe that.
Well, they have addressed that issue tonight. The Rays have 1 home run. They've been out-homered 4-1 by this team. Still a ball, 2 strikes. Brad Miller hit the Rays home run in the 8th inning, and that has accounted for the only run, the home run, 1 of 7 hits collected by the Rays. Rays have left 7 hits for Toronto. They've left only 4, but they've hit 4 home runs. Base hit up the left field line, and Guyer is on. He's headed to second. Ball kicks back to Carrera. So a double for Geyer. Well, he just continues to get on base.
That's impressive too. He turned around 98. I mean, that's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball that he got the head out and popped that ball right by Donaldson up the left field line, down and in, and just smokes it. He makes things happen.
He figures out a way.
He does.
You know, and that's just not happenstance. There's some design in the way he plays the game. You got to give him credit for that. Now Kevin Kiermaier. Pitch is popped foul, out of play. Strike one. Kiermaier's hit came in the 7th inning. One and one. One one. 2 balls and a strike. Tenth appearance for Osuna. Lefties have had a tough time against him. They're just 3 for 22 off him right now. We'll take the count to 2-2. A souvenir. Waiting until the bottom of the 9th. Good things come to those who wait. Perseverance pays off. Base hit the other way. Geyer's going to stop at third. The Rays have 2 men on. Double by Geyer. He goes to third on the base hit by Kiermaier. And Hank Conger will pinch hit for Kurt Casale.
2 singles for Kevin Kiermaier in his last 2 at-bats. Cutting down on the swing. Went back up the middle his last time up. And then right here, a ball nasty away. Just put that ball in place, slice it into left field. A nice easy swing. And the Rays not going to go quietly here tonight.
So the Rays call upon Hank Conger to pinch hit. Our pinch hitter presented by Pinch a Penny. Conger bounces one foul. Conger, a switch hitter. Better from the left side. He had 11 home runs for Houston last year. And that puts him down 0-2 in the count. Osuna 97 on that last pitch. There's Logan Forsythe on deck. Swing and a miss. Conger out on strikes.
Well, coming off the bench and facing the high-octane fastball there of Roberto Osuna, and finishes him off here. Stay behind it, drive it, 97. A little bit late.
Well, it's Logan Forsythe now. Baltimore beat the White Sox 6-3, and the Red Sox have taken a 4-2 lead on the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th. They scored 2 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th. Kiermaier moves into second base, and the first pitch is a strike to Forsythe. Nine hits for the Rays tonight, but they could tally so far only 1 run. That came on Brad Miller's home run. Well, the heat up that time. Tough to catch up.
Top of the strike zone, extremely difficult at that velocity. He's been between 96 and 98 all inning long.
Osuna just missed. It's a ball and 2 strikes. And a popper on the infield. Donaldson in to make the catch, and this game is over. For the Rays in the 9th, no runs, a couple of hits, and 2 men left. They finish the night with 9 hits and 9 men left on base. And the Blue Jays take game 1 of this series. 6-1 the final. Sanchez will get the win. Smiley will take the loss. We'll be with you tomorrow at 5:30 for game 2 of this series. It will be Chris Archer against Jay Happ. For Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast. If not the outcome, Rays Live, the postgame, comes your way next. Presented by Checkers.